Another story is from first year of university when my mates and I were having a Christmas dinner in a kitchen rented out for a night from the university in a building close to our halls. We'd been cooking all day, each of us, around 12, bringing food to share at this dinner. In preparation for the dinner, I hadn't eaten any food all day, but I was drinking a lot. I think I'd had 8 pints by the time we met up around 1900 hours. We sat in a circle and did our secret Santa first. This must have taken about half an hour. By this point, I was away with it, slurring shite to anyone that would listen. We sit down to eat our dinner, and I pass out, face on the table, and then from under my head slumped over on my arms, bile starts seeping out onto the table and floor before everyone moves over to the spare table we weren't using. A couple of my friends, saviors, helped clean me and the mess up, and I curled up in the sink. My mates then carried me home and put me to bed with a bucket on the floor. I woke up the next morning thinking I just drank a lot, and went to bed without any drama. Well, my drunk cars can't do that apparently, and I remembered when I went to pick up my shirt off the floor and realized it had spew all over it. I don't drink much anymore. This was at a big uni ball thrown by a society I was on the central committee for. Drank a bottle of gin on an empty stomach from about 4 till 8, hung out with Base Hunter, and discussed how shit Guinness is in America. Headed down for dinner about 9. This is where my memory of the night ends, but my hand in a bowl of soup to claim it. Wandered around the hotel trying to get served more drink. Obligatory chundering. Fell asleep mid-shite. Had to be carried around by a combo of security and the rest of the committee. Made it need not happen. The only thing I could say all night. Bought a hotel room. Had to have 3 committee members look over me as I passed out in said room. If Irish students from a party society are concerned about alcohol poisoning, then that might say a lot. Woke up about 5 am with no clue where I was and what had gone on. Made it to the airport for my 7 am flight to Newcastle. Apparently, I was simultaneously the most drunk and polite person the security had had to deal with, which is something. Still a bit annoyed that the only time I got so wasted as to need looking after was also the most public occasion possible. My antics even overshadowed my mate hooking up with Base Hunter. One week, it was a party in the club, but hard one. We went there with my boys and started drinking, but drinking like horses. After the party, I don't know how, but I got in my house, and I jumped out my bedroom window because I felt queasy. Used a ladder to get back in, and then threw it the hedge. Did not know how to explain it to my dad in the morning. A policewoman and got arrested. Burst into tears and was promptly de-arrested. Cost me an $80 fine though. This was all after I'd ran a 5K charity run for hospice care. Probably shouldn't have started and ended the race with a pint, or few. On a tour bus with Towers of London. My friend was a fan. Threw up over myself, and then couldn't get out of the locked toilet as the band manager was throwing us off. Proceeded to sleep in friend's car for the night. Friend was sick over the steering wheel whilst driving home the next day. It was all pretty gross. Refused to walk as I was too drunk. Fiancé couldn't carry me, so the taxi driver put me to bed. Had evening with fiancé's friends last Christmas and drank a whole bottle of rum. I've only recently been informed that I sexily danced and sang Lana Del Rey to them all. Passed out drunk, pissed myself, and then blamed the dog. In my first year at university, I saved money by taking a bottle of shit whiskey. Not that I knew it was shit whiskey back then. I was young and had no functioning taste buds. Also, I thought the aim of drinking was to get drunk to the campus fireworks party. Because student union beer wasn't cheap or strong enough, I necked it in about half an hour and spent the rest of the evening sitting in a puddle of my own piss and covered in vomit next to the doorway to my halls where everyone could see me. At least, I think it was my own piss. For all I know, other people had pissed on me when I was passed out, because that's what counts as witty bants when you're 18. Went out for bottomless brunch with a group of mates. Proceeded to go out after for cocktails and shots. All I'd eaten all day was poached eggs on an English muffin. Many gins and shots in. We were wasted, and decided to go to Nando's. I took 3 bites of my halloumi burger and threw up. Or the time I argued with my mate on a night out and staggered off into the city center on my own. Noticed a guy following me. Walked back to the club my mate was in, but refused to actually go in and find him because I was so mad at him. Ended up sat on the floor outside the club, and a guy came up to me to make sure I was all right, bought me a McDonald's, and put me in a taxi home, all whilst I drunkenly proclaimed how cute he was. I actually ended up seeing him for like 2 months. so it worked out okay. But the initial messages to him the next morning were very shameful. That's it for today's video, and the final message is, don't drunk.